All right, and it is top of the hour now, so let's get started. I want to thank all of you for carving out an hour for this Loxo 101 basic training. I'm Dan over here at Loxo. I'm the training manager, and on my screen you can see the three big topics we're going to cover in today's session. First, I'm going to give you 4 basic setup best practices that we recommend for everybody just getting started with Loxo. Then we will hop into the Jobs tab and talk about the easy process of adding a job into your Loxo account and then managing the candidates for that job using our pipeline tool. Then we will segue over to the People tab and we'll talk about everything related to your database of people in Loxo, how it's organized, how you can pull in people into your database using several different techniques, how you can search and filter that database of people whenever needed to come up with a group of people, maybe to drop into a job, let's say, and then how you can click on any person's name in your database to open up the flyover page or the profile page for that person, where all the information is stored, all your notes are going to be stored, and all of the basic tools that you're going to use to manage contacts and candidates in your database of people is going to be found. Now, at the end of that, I'll be happy to take questions. So if you have questions for me as I'm going through my spiel, if you don't mind, send those over to me through the Q&A box that you'll find on your webinar control panel thing. All right, let's jump into it and let's talk about the Loxo user interface. It's beautiful, it's minimal, it's elegant. It's really easy to get the hang of. On the left side, when you log in, you'll see a navigation bar, which is going to take you to most of the main parts of the system that you're going to be looking for, like jobs, people, tasks, companies, deals, outreach. And then using the 3-dot button, the More button here, this is where you'll access Loxo Source, which is our global database of roughly 500 million people, and Loxo Reporting. Also, down below here on the navigation bar, you'll have the phone pad. You can actually dial out through Loxo whenever you need to, so you have that button there available to you to open up the phone pad and make a call from the user interface. And the question mark button is really maybe the most important button in the entire platform. It's how to reach us at support. So click here and it'll open up a little box so you can start chatting with us over at support. Just click on send us a message. We usually have a couple people from support logged on. So really, anytime you have a question, anytime you have a problem, if you're looking for best practice advice, if you have a feature request, if you have some feedback for us, anything like that, use the question mark button at the lower left and start chatting us up. Now also down here at the very bottom of the navigation bar on the left-hand side, you'll see a button with your initials. When you log in, your initials will show here. And when you click on that button, it opens up this drop-down menu. I'm not going to go through all of this with you. I'm going to point to some of the key things you'll find here, like an email log, a record of every single email being sent out of your account, an SMS log, a record of all the text messages going out of your account, a place where you can manage all the duplicates in your database that we have identified thanks to our Loxo AI bots. The social network widgets page. Now this is where you can download the very cool Loxo Chrome extension. And I'm going to show you how to do that in just a second, but the Chrome extension makes it very easy for you to pull people into your database from LinkedIn, as well as GitHub, AngelList, Indeed, Dice, and Career Builder. So that Loxo Chrome extension is really going to be one of your best friends when you're using Loxo, and I'll show you how to download the extension at this button. The other big button I want you to pay attention to here is the settings button. And this is where, if you're an admin on your account, you can configure a lot of the functionality for your account. But if you're a regular user logging into Loxo, this is also where you can configure a lot of your preferences for the way things look and feel when you're logged in using Loxo. And this is where we're going to start the training with some best practices that we recommend for everybody. So when you log into your Loxo account for the first time, I want you to go to the navigation bar and click on your initials down here at the lower left, and then choose settings. It'll take you to the settings page. Everything happens on the left-hand column here. And we're going to start with 3 best practices at the upper left, namely to sync up your work email address with your Loxo account, sync up your work calendar with your Loxo account, and add your email signature into Loxo. So to do that, let's start with syncing up your email. That's where it's going to default when you arrive at the settings page. It's automatically opening the synced email accounts button here. And to do that, you're going to use the blue add button here and just type in your work email address. It's as simple as that. Hit the save button here and your work email address will appear up here at the upper left where it says dan@loxo.co. That's where you'll see your email address. And when you hover over it with your mouse, it should say running, which tells you that the sync is running perfectly. If it says anything other than running, or if you get an error message of any sort, reach out to us and chat with us at support, and we'll help you out and help you get your email synced up with your Loxo account. Then repeat the process with your work calendar. So click on Synced Calendars and basically do exactly what I just showed you. Hit the blue add button. Type in your work email address one more time, the work email address that's associated with that calendar, whether you guys are using, Google Calendar or Outlook or whatever you're using. Just type in your work email address associated with that calendar and again, hit save. Now, one word about the calendar sync is this. It's a one-way sync, which means we can push things out of Loxo onto your calendar, your work calendar, but we're not going to be able to pull in like your meetings and all your stuff from your calendar and display them over here in Loxo. So we can push, but we can't pull when it comes to the calendar sync. Third best practice, add your email signature. So click on signature, copy and paste in your email signature, and hit save. It's as simple as that. Now, if you have like some funky, cat video or some GIF or something in your signature, we see that a lot these days. If it doesn't render correctly, for whatever reason, if you're having a hiccup, it looks weird, it just doesn't look right, reach out to us at support. Again, we'll help get it squared away so it looks perfect. I'm using a fairly like 1994 style email address or email signature, so I never have an issue, but I know a lot of people like to have these like miniature movies and stuff automatically play when they open up an email, this kind of thing. Now, on the settings page, there's a whole bunch of other stuff you can do if you have time on your hands. We don't in this 101. We're jammed with content already. But I encourage you to look through my playlist of training videos and really just start poking around. These are very intuitive tools. Like you can build email templates, prefab email content. You can build forms that you're going to use all the time, like a candidate intake form, a non-disclosure agreement form, this kind of thing. You can build email automations. Now, we're going to cover that in the Loxo 103 training. You can also build voicemail templates, text message templates. You can update your profile picture in Loxo. You can add note templates. Again, we don't have time to cover all this now, but I think if you have some time on your hands, start clicking through these and start creating the things that are going to make your life easier going forward. All right, now the fourth and last best practice is to download that Loxo Chrome extension. And I'm pointing to it at the upper right on my Chrome browser. That little black owl button up there is the Loxo Chrome extension. Now, you guys remember to do that, you're going to click on the button down here at the lower left with your initials on it and go to Social Network Widgets. Now, it's free, of course, to install the Chrome extension, but make sure you're using Chrome when you do this. Click on Install Loxo Extension here, and it will shuttle you over to the Chrome Web Store, where we have our page set up. You'll see our Loxo owl, so you know you're in the right place. And you'll see a blue download button up here at the upper right that you'll click on to download the extension. Again, it's free, takes like 30 seconds to download. When it's done, you'll see the little Loxo owl button up there at the upper right on your Chrome browser, and you know you're ready to rock and roll. Now I'm going to show you how to use this thing in just a second, so hold that thought. But basically, those are the 4 best practices that we recommend when you're getting started with Loxo. And if you have any hiccups or problems with any of those 4 best practices, again, chat with us at support and we will help you out. All right, second big topic for today is the Jobs tab. At the upper left, you'll see a Jobs button. When you click on that, you will see a list, kind of a dashboard view of all the jobs that you've added into your Loxo account. As you start to get used to using the system, you'll add jobs. Like we have the Solutions Architect job at SentinelOne, right? Or the Mobile Developer job at Apple, or the Senior Software Engineer job at Tesla, et cetera. They're all sort of stacked up here. And you can have as many jobs in your account as you want. We have these staffing agencies that use Loxo. They have like 10,000 jobs in their account. So no upper limit in terms of the number of jobs that you add into your account. Now, to add a job quickly, you're going to use the blue add button up here at the upper right hand corner, and you'll choose this button, Create New Job. It's going to take you to a job creation page where basically we walk you through the simple process of adding a job into your account. Now, the first thing you're going to see up at the top here is we have a sourcing automation tool called Loxo AI. We talk about it in the Loxo 102 training at length. Basically, it's real machine learning, artificial intelligence, and basically you can use Loxo AI when you're adding a job to send you an email list of ranked recommended candidates for this job that you're about to add. So it's a fabulous tool. It saves you the time and stress of sourcing candidates. It basically shows up in your inbox. And that tool will be turned on by default. Each time you add a job, we're going to assume that you want Loxo AI to send you a list of best fit candidates for this job. But that said, if you have a bunch of people all ready to go in like a spreadsheet, right? You have like 50 candidates, you've already vetted these people, you know they are the top shelf candidates, and you don't need any additional candidates, thank you very much. You can turn that off, just flip the switch off. But when I show you Loxo AI in the 102, I think you'll see how amazing it is, and you'll want to use that every single time just so that you don't miss someone in the process. Now that said, whether or not you use Loxo AI, to add a job, we're going to ask you some basic stuff like what's the job title, who's the hiring company, etc. So let's work our way down this little form here. First, we want to know what's the project name or the job title in question. So let's say I'm looking for a CTO. I type in CTO and you'll notice that it matches against a list that the AI bots are using when they match up candidates, right? So pick the job title if it's there. If you don't see the job title particularly, don't panic. Pick one that's close for now, and I'll show you why in a second. For me, I'm in business, CTO. The reason why you don't have to panic if the job title that you're looking to add is not in that list per se is that you can use this button down below here. Flip it to on, and then you can add additional job titles to fine tune the AI bots in terms of directing them towards the correct group of candidates. So maybe it's a CTO engineering division or CTO for Europe or, this kind of thing. So enter the first additional job title, hit enter, and then enter a second one. If you've got a second one, hit enter and add as many as you want. In fact, the more additional job titles that you add here, the better the AI results are going to be on the back end, right? So use that. Now, the other cool thing you can do at the same time is you can flip this switch to on and then enter in some job titles that you want the AI bots to exclude as part of that matching process. So the example I always give here is, let's say I'm looking for a sales manager, but I don't want sales account executives, and I don't want sales BDRs or SDRs included in that matching process. So I would enter in, sales account executive, enter, sales BDR, enter, sales SDR, enter, etc. All the variations on the job titles I would like excluded from this matching process. So enter in the main job title and then fine tune by adding additional job titles and adding titles you want to exclude. All right, now below that, the hiring company. This is also going to auto-populate. So if it's Apple, that's an easy one, right? But inevitably what happens here is that someone is working with, some kind of a company that's a brand new startup maybe, and they type in the company name and it doesn't match against our list of companies on planet Earth. And so they're like, what do I do now, Dan? Well, don't panic for one thing. First of all, we give you a create button down here. So you can always click create and then manually type in the name of that brand new company that's not in our list and you're in business. But the other workaround I found that works very well is simply enter in the URL, the web address for that company's website, and that will guide the AI bots to the correct hiring company no matter what. Below that, if there is a physical location for this job that you're adding, hit the add button and enter in the location, the address, the city, zip or postal code, what country are we talking about. But don't forget to let us know whether remote is allowed or not for this job, right? There may or may not be a physical location these days, right? But we always need to know whether or not there is a physical location or not. We want to know, does the hiring company, are they okay with the candidate working from somewhere else or not? Okay, now below that, we're working our way down this basic question list here. What's the experience level for the job you're adding? Entry level, mid-level, senior level, director level, VP level, C-suite? What is the skill set for this job? You'll hit the add button and then enter in this first skill set. So if it's like a software engineer job, I might type in Java and hit enter, and then C++ and hit enter, and then HTML and hit enter, and then all the other skills that you're looking for. And add as many as you possibly can. Now, ideal candidate. If there's somebody in Loxo source or in your database that is really the ideal candidate for this job you're adding, click the add button and type in the name of that person. So maybe Dan Hintz, and hit enter. And that will guide the AI bots to the correct sort of candidate. They'll look to basically clone that person and look for other people exactly like that person. And if you have more than one person you can point to in terms of being an ideal candidate, enter them in here. Enter the first one, hit enter, hit the add button, enter the second person, hit enter, and so on. The more ideal candidates you can add, the better the AI matching results on the back end are going to be. All right, now some other stuff we're going to ask you. What's the time commitment for this job? Is this a full-time job, a contract to hire? We're also going to ask you, what is the salary or the salary range? What is the annual bonus or the bonus range? And what is the annual equity percentage or equity range, right? So enter in those details as appropriate. And then maybe most important here, the job description. This box is where you can copy and paste in the full job description for this job, and make sure you're as detailed as possible in terms of including years of experience the client's looking for, the exact skill set, what software packages, what applications do they need to know, what kind of personality traits or temperament is the hiring company looking for, this kind of thing. The more detail you can provide in the job description field, obviously the better the AI matching results are going to be on the back end as well. As we work our way down on the job profile going forward, you will find an internal notes box where you and your crew can enter in notes onto this job profile. There's no upper limit. You can add as many notes in here as you want, and it's completely confidential. Client's not going to see these notes. Candidates are not going to see these notes. You can be perfectly candid when you're adding notes onto the job profile for whatever reason. Now, down below, the advanced field, if you use this little arrow down, you have some additional tools here. Not everyone uses these, but you can add tags, for example, onto this job. You can also indicate the current status of this job: active, on hold, has it closed because we placed someone, has it closed because we give up, what's the open date, the date you created the job, who on your team is the owner, who's the hiring manager or your contact over at the hiring company, etc. You can set up your email automation default setting here, and we'll talk more about that in the 102 training, automated emails. You can rank the job in your list of jobs if this is the most important contract you're working on right now, and you can also enter in fee override detail information down here at the bottom. Now, finally, at the bottom of this job creation page is where you can tell us whether or not you want to push this job you're adding out to the job boards that we integrate with. If so, you're just going to flip the switch by flipping that from off to on. Now, there are 7 big job boards currently that you'll be able to push your listings out to through Loxo, and they are Indeed, Glassdoor, ZipRecruiter, Career Builder, Simply Hired, Talentify, and Appcast. So if you're an admin on your account, on your settings page under Customize, you'll put check marks next to the job boards you want to push jobs out to. And then each time you add a job, we're going to ask you, for this particular job, Dan, do you want to push this job out or not? You don't have to, but if you want to, just flip the switch and then let us know if the hiring company is hidden in this process, i.e., are you fronting for them, as the kids say? Or is it, publicly known that, yes, this is a VP of sales job at Apple, this kind of thing. And that's it. This is the basic info we want to know from you when you're adding a job. It's not rocket science. And then you're going to hit the create button up here at the upper right-hand corner, and that will do 2 things simultaneously. First of all, it'll create that job in your database of jobs in Loxo, and if you have Loxo AI turned on, that will send that AI request to the Loxo AI bots, and then they will send you an email list of ranked recommended candidates for this job that you just created. Now, I'm going to cover AI in even more detail next time in the Loxo 102, where I show you what those candidates are going to look like, how they're presented to you, how you're going to evaluate those candidates, etc. So get ready for more Loxo AI gab next time. Now I'm going to hit the cancel button up here. And when you create a job, it'll be listed up here at the upper left on this jobs dashboard view, right? So the last one that was created was this solutions architect job created by Matt for the client Sentinel-1. Now going forward, you're going to be able to manage all the candidates that you drop into a job in Loxo by coming to the jobs tab and just clicking on the job title. So I'm going to click on solutions architect here, and we're going to take a look at the job pipeline. All right, so here is a typical job pipeline. sourced, applied, contacted, submitted, and if I scroll to the right using this bar down here, submitted, interviewing, rejected, offer, and hired. Now, your job pipeline is customizable, and it might be completely different than this. You can basically go to your settings page, and again, I have a customizations webinar that I host on Wednesday afternoons at 4 p.m. Eastern, where I teach you how to customize your job pipeline. So you can have as many stages in your job pipeline that you want, and you can call those stages whatever your lingo is, whatever your terminology is, right? Now, the idea, of course, is that when you source candidates in Loxo, they're going to drop into the sourced column here, like Vijay, Santosh, Arun, and Pavan. And then going forward, you'll be able to drag and drop these candidates from one stage to another. And the great thing about this is it's updating all the background information for you in terms of documentation, right? So Vijay here, I just dragged him from the sourced column into the applied column, right? So now it says applied a few seconds ago on his profile page in Loxo, right? So it's doing all that back-end documentation for you. You don't have to worry about that. You can simply drag and drop your candidates from one stage to another as they naturally make their way through the process of their life cycle as a candidate. And ultimately, every person in this pipeline is either going to get rejected or they're going to get an offer made to them, right? So everybody's going to wind up in one of these two columns. So it's a fabulous way to get your head around and manage all of the candidates going forward. Now, a couple of great tools here I think you're going to absolutely adore when you're on the job pipeline view like this. First of all, if you use the three dot button up here, the more button, you can immediately invite a hiring manager or your contact over at the client company to view this job pipeline. And I'm telling you, they flip out for that. They adore seeing this pipeline. So when you click on that button, first of all, you decide what they can see, right? If you only want to show them certain columns, like you don't want to show them when they were sourced or applied or contacted. You only want to show the people that have been submitted or are currently interviewing. Maybe those two stages of the pipeline only you want to share with the hiring manager, right? And then down below here, you'll simply enter in the hiring manager's name, the contact, and the email address. And you'll either send the invite to that person. You'll click a button to send an invite saying, hey, take a look at this job pipeline. You can see all the candidates that are currently in the running for the position, or you can simply copy the link into an email and send it over to them, right? And it's not only hiring managers that you can invite. You might want to invite someone on your team, right? You can see someone invited me, Dan Hintz, dan@loxo.co. So you can invite pretty much whoever you want, whether it's someone on your team or in fact it is the hiring manager who you are inviting to view this job pipeline. So I'm telling you, they flip for that. But here's the other really great one. You can also export a customizable report for your client, sharing with them as much or as little information about these candidates as you wish. Now, in the reporting training, I go in depth into all of the 16 or 18 reports we have available to you out of the box. And one of the reports I'll show you is the client export report. So do try to sit in on the Thursday afternoon reporting webinar, or at least watch the video version for a closer look at that report. But basically, just keep in mind under this three dot button, these two tools work very nicely together when you have a heavy duty client kind of breathing down your neck for an update about what's going on with this job opening, right? They're like, do you have any good candidates in the pipeline? What's going on? You invite them, you send them the report, and they're like, wow, Dan, you're really on top of things. Thank you. You know, this kind of thing. Now, you can also, though, highlight anybody that you see in any of these columns, and you've got all kinds of activity available. You can add them to a meeting or an event. You could remove them from a job. You can add them to your call queue if you want to remember to call VJ. You can submit them immediately to a candidate, or a hiring manager rather, a client for an interview, etc. So all the kinds of sort of candidate management tools that you would expect are right here at your fingertips whenever you're managing candidates for a job in the pipeline view here. Now, the other thing I think you're going to love is that when you're back on the jobs tab and you're in that dashboard view, you can easily search and filter your database of jobs. So even if you have like 5,000 jobs in your account, it's not going to stress you out because you can use the search bar up here at the top to search your database of jobs, and maybe you search by, title or some keyword or something or other. But really the filters are the thing, as the kids say. You can use this add filter button, and you can filter, for example, by owner. So if I just want to see the jobs that I'm working, that I created, I can easily see that, or by job status, right? Or by job type. or by job tag. Remember, you can add tags onto your jobs, or by job location or the company name or the company. These are the filters are how you're going to be able to find that job, even if you have like 10,000 jobs in your account. And even if you can't remember the name of the job title, you won't stress out. So that's pretty cool. The other thing I really love is that next to each job, in the display here, you can immediately look to the right and see how many candidates are at each stage of your job pipeline. So even if you don't click into the job pipeline per se, you can get the data points just by sort of tilting your head to the right here a little bit and view the numbers here. So that is jobs. As you can see, that is very easy to add a job, very easy to manage candidates, get your head around all the jobs that you're working. Now we're going to go to people, the last big topic. And this will take us up till top of the hour. It's a lot to talk about. People is your database of people in Loxo. All of your people, all of your candidates, all of your contacts, all of your subcontractors, all of your vendors, all of your consultants, all of your family, all of your old buddies from college. Everybody that's in your database is in the people tab. Think of it as a big basket. Now in this demo account we're using today, I've got more than 25,000 people in my database. So again, this would be a blend of candidates and contacts over at prospect companies and old buddies of mine and consultants we use here at Loxo and vendors for all the like applications that we use like Zoom and everything. They're all in here, right? Now, you have a choice, first of all, how you view your database. You have a card view, which is the standard view, where everybody in here, in this case, all 25,000 plus, you get this sort of thumbnail sketch of their life story, kind of a Reader's Digest view of their life story as I scroll down here. Now, all the filters in the card view are over here on the left. So you can filter and search this database by like direct name. If I'm looking for Santosh Kumar, I'd be able to locate him doing a direct name search. But current job title, tags, location, current company, previous companies, current zip code, diversity filters, years of experience, candidate categories, type, i.e. candidate, contact, subcontractor, and so on. Where did we source this person for? Who in our team is working with this person? When were they created? When was a profile created in our database for this person? Last recent activity date, last contacted date, the job stage they're currently in, their compensation level, their desired compensation level, not always the same things. Who referred them, if anyone? Where are they ranked? If you have a ranking system for all your candidates, what is their GDPR status? What was their college graduation date? All these kinds of things. Now, these are completely configurable, customizable filters. Again, I have a customizations webinar where I teach you how to add filters, how to change and edit the names of these to match your lingo, how to delete or hide filters. So you can add as many filters as you want here. So you can easily search and filter this database, which I'll demonstrate in a couple minutes here. But I want to also show you at the upper left, if you don't want the card view, I think most people love this view. It's nice and elegant and spacious. You can have a grid view. A lot of our OG users, they love the old-fashioned grid view, which is still very popular here at Loxo. A lot of our power users, the most successful users of Loxo, this is the view they like. They like the grid view. We're all, in this case, 25,000 people would be stacked up on the left-hand column, right? And you can show them 25 per page, 50 per page, 10 per page, that kind of thing. Now, in this case, the filters run across the top of the columns, right? So we have name, current job title, tags, location, current company, exactly the same filters I just showed you, just displayed in a different arrangement. It's a grid, right? So here are their names, here are their current job titles, here are the tags that you've added onto these profiles, here are their locations, and in this case, you would filter by using the column headings. So either way, it's up to you. You guys might want to play around and see which view you like best. I think a lot of our new users, they love the card view, and that's the default view. A lot of our OG users and a lot of people that are coming from other systems where grid view is like common, they love this view. And this is the view I used for a long time, but now I've flipped. I'm in the card view camp now. All right, now before I click on someone's name and we show you what the profile page looks like and all the cool tools that you'll find on someone's profile page, I want to first show you 6 different techniques that you're going to use to pull someone into your database, to get someone in here with a profile page, because you constantly every day want to grow and cultivate and curate this excellent database of candidates and contacts that you're growing here in Loxo. Now, the first way you can get someone in here is that Loxo Chrome extension that I referenced earlier. So now I'm going to show you how to use this thing. So let's go to LinkedIn for a second, and let's pick someone and add them into our database. So here I've got my profile page open in LinkedIn, and over here on the right I'm going to pick someone at random. Let's take Mandy Tonga. I don't think she's in our database. We'll find out in a moment. So I click on her profile page to open up her profile page here in LinkedIn, and I remind you, this Chrome extension, it also works at GitHub, AngelList, Indeed, Dice, and Career Builder. So the big six, right? But you're probably going to use it most when you're at LinkedIn. So we open up Mandy at random. We have her profile page open up here. What is her story? She's Director of Human Resources and Health and Safety at Escape Fitness in over in England, Peterborough, England. Okay, cool. So if I want to pull her into my database of people, all I need to do is click on that Loxo Owl button up there on my Chrome extension, and it will start building a profile for Mandy back in our demo database here. So what happens is when it says importing here, it means it's essentially pulling in all of her information from her profile and building a profile back in your database in the People tab. When it's done building the profile page, it'll launch the extension here. And this is where you have access to a lot of cool stuff. First of all, you can quickly send a text message or an email to Mandy right from this extension using these drop-down arrows here. Even cooler than that, you could source her for a job in your account right from here. If you use the Add a Job button, it'll show you a list of all the jobs that you've created in your Loxo account. And if I want to add her, if I think she's a good fit for the sales manager job at Apple, I can use Add, and it will source her for that job right from this extension. And the cool thing is you can source her for multiple jobs. So if I think she'd also be good for the Vice President of Operations job at Solar City, I can add her to that job as well right from the extension. So I have just sourced her for 2 different jobs right through this Chrome extension. I hit done, and she's dropped into those jobs back in my Loxo account. Similarly, I could drop her into a Loxo outreach campaign and trigger that campaign to start communicating with her right from the extension using this Add Loxo Outreach button. Now, we're going to cover outreach campaigns next time in the Loxo 102 training, where I'll teach you how to build those outreach campaigns. But remember, you can drop someone into an outreach campaign when you're using the Chrome extension. You can also drop her into a deal, or you could create a task from here. Now, we'll cover deals in the Loxo 103 training, and tasks we'll cover in the 103 training as well. But keep in mind, when you're using the Chrome extension, you have access to a lot of functionality in Loxo at your fingertips. Now, you can see the basic info we were able to pull in from this profile. Notice if there's no contact information in the email field or the phone field, you'll see a Find Contact Information button. This is Loxo Connect. And basically, our Loxo AI bots can go out and look for contact information, namely email addresses and cell phone numbers whenever you click on this. Now, she's in England, so we may or may not be able to find contact info for her, but we're going to find out. I'm going to click on this button. Typically, it takes about 10 seconds for our Loxo AI bots to basically look everywhere on planet Earth and look for some kind of contact info for Mandy Tong. Let's see what happens here. If she were in the US, I would say it's like a 90% chance we'll find something. She's in England, and we were able to find an email address, but not a phone number. So at least now I could scroll up, though, and fire off a quick email to Mandy and just say, Mandy, Dan over at Dan's Recruiting Factory, I found your profile on LinkedIn. You are absolutely perfect for this job I'm working. Can we do a quick Skype call or a Zoom call? You know, something like that. I get the ball rolling by sending an email right from here, thanks to Loxo Connect. Now below that, you also have an add tag button. So you can start adding tags onto her profile back in Loxo right from here. You can also categorize her in your database. What type of human being is she in your database of people? Is she a candidate? Is she a contact? Is she a subcontractor? Is she more than one of these, etc.? So you can categorize, kind of slot her into the appropriate type in your database. Now, as we scroll down, you'll see all the other info we were able to scrape in, so to speak, from this profile. Now, notice there's no save or submit or OK button at the bottom because it's updating all this information as you work on the extension. Now, one more thing I want to show you. Up here at the top, you have this stream button. On the profile page, we have this thing called the activity stream, which will keep track of all the activity going on with regard to this person in Loxo. When you click on the stream button at the upper right on the Chrome extension, this is where you can immediately add a note onto her profile page. So whenever you add a note in Loxo, we want you to use this activity drop-down menu here to tell us what just happened or what's about to happen. So let's say she and I did just do a Skype call. So I choose that from my activity drop-down menu here. And now I can put in my notes. I can just say, okay, I just did a Skype call with Mandy over in Peterborough in England. She is perfect for that job. And here are my notes from the Skype call. And I can type as much as I want here. Now, whenever you add a note, in addition to documenting the activity, I want you to get in the habit of documenting what job exactly is it related to. So if it's about the sales manager job at Apple, you want to tie this note to that job in question. So it creates a nice, neat little information package anytime that you update the activity stream on someone's profile page. And this works exactly the same here on the Chrome extension. You hit post, it updates that note along with the activity, and it ties it to the job in question, all on her activity stream back in Loxo. That is amazing. And you can see how in the activity stream, Loxo has already documented the fact that I sourced her for those 2 jobs about a minute ago. Remember that? So all of this is updating on her activity stream back in Loxo, and we haven't even left the Chrome extension yet. That is a fabulous and really powerful little tool. I wouldn't say it's fun to use. It's almost fun. It's definitely cool. All right, now when you're done using the Chrome extension, just click out of it. Just click to the right, go back to Loxo. See you later, Mandy. And when you're in the People tab, just refresh the screen. Just click People to refresh the screen. And we should see Mandy right at the top or very close to the top of the list of people in this database here. So I'm going to refresh the screen manually up there at the top. Now, if the person you just added using the Chrome extension does not show up at the top of the list of people in your database of people, do not panic, because other people might be pulling people in from your account at the same time. And so you might have to scroll down a little bit. Like in this case, Bill Riggs is up at the top, Jason's second, David's third. I'm hoping she's going to show up here. Maybe I was, oh, there she is. This is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. So I just pulled Mandy in, but because I took so long on the extension to do all that stuff to show you how to use it, in the interim, other people like from the sales team and other people that are in this demo account were also pulling people in using the Chrome extension or other ways, right? And so those people showed up on top here above Mandy, because in the interim, while I was adding her, other people added people in the interim. So scroll down until you see the person and verify that that person was pulled in and her profile page got created successfully. All right, so that's the first of 6 different ways that you can pull someone into your database of people. Let's go through the other ways. When you're on the People tab, use the blue Add button, and you can always add someone manually. So basically, you just start typing in as much or as little information as you want. A lot of people use this button like a shortcut, really. You know, so if you want to get someone in your database quickly, you're in a hurry, just hit Add Person, type in like Dan Hintz and my email address or my cell phone number, and hit Save for now. Remember that you can always come back later and click on their name to open up their profile page, and then upload their picture, and then upload their resumes, and then flesh it out with detail, right? If you're in a hurry, just hit Add Person, type in name and an email, name and a cell phone number, whatever, hit Save, and that creates the kernel of a profile for that person. So a lot of our power users, they love that as like a shortcut to get someone in their database quickly on the fly. Now, below that, using the blue Add button, you can import lists of people into your database. So if you have a list of like 100 or 200 candidates in an Excel spreadsheet kind of thing, you can easily pull those people in. And as you pull those people in en masse using the Import CSV button here, it's going to create profiles automatically for each of those folks. Now, one best practice, if you import a list of people into your database, try to keep it to 500 people or less per import. So if you have like 2,000 people you want to import, that's not a big deal. People do that all the time, but break that into 4 500-person CSV files, right? And if you don't know what I'm talking about with a CSV file, that kind of thing, reach out to us at support. We'll be happy to send you some help guides, walk you through it. It's basically an Excel spreadsheet, right? And again, in the importing CSV video, I walk you through the simple step-by-step process, but I think you'll find it's very intuitive. When you click this button, you'll choose the CSV file with all the candidates you have in it off your desktop, where you have it sitting on your computer. When you choose it off your desktop, it's going to open up a little box so that you can map the data from the fields in your CSV file into the fields in Loxo on the profile page, so that all the first names go in the first name field, all the emails go in the email field, etc. Right? It's really easy. Now, again, keep it to 500 or less. You should be golden. Reach out to us at support if you need any help. And really, if you have like 20,000 people or something you want to import them in, talk to us at support. We can probably help make that happen on the back end and save you all that drudgery, right? But we see people routinely importing 200, 300, 400 people at a crack without any assistance from support, and they love it. All right, now you can also use the upload resume button. Now this is a 1-by-1 resume upload button. So if you have a bunch of resumes sitting on your computer, you're in business. As those resumes upload into Loxo, profiles get created for each of those folks. Now, if you have a bunch of resumes, like 500 or 1,000, again, talk to us at support and we can help you or quote you a price on uploading a batch of resumes if you have like 10,000 or something like that. But, you know, for a lot of our users, uploading resumes 1-by-1 like this does the trick. All right, so that's 4 ways. There's 2 other ways I want to make you aware of. Next one, you'll have to sort of visualize. It's the Loxo forwarding email address. Now, the forwarding email address is assigned to your account when you get started, and you can find it basically on, let me see if I can find it here quickly. I believe it's on the settings page. We just added this now, so I'm excited to show you this. Under my agency, is it? Yes. Okay, so if you're an admin on your account and you're on the settings page, under my agency, you will be able to locate your forwarding email address under this button right here, agency information. This is where you'll find the resume forwarding email address for your account that's been assigned to your account. The reason for this, or the reason why this is great, is that basically anytime that someone emails you their resume, you can turn around and forward that resume with that email, forward that email with that resume attached to it to that address. And we will automatically extract the information from that resume and build a profile for that person in your database. That's the way a lot of our power users get people into their database all day long. They'll simply have an email that they attach like 25 resumes to, forward it to that address, and 25 profiles get created. Now, the 6th and final way you can get someone in here is by dragging and dropping a resume or a PDF for that matter. So for that, to demonstrate that, let's go back to LinkedIn for a second and let's pick yet someone else at random. Let's take Danny Lester, let's take Kimberly Rimmer. All right, so Kimberly, I want to pull her into my database, but for whatever reason, I'm not using the Loxo Chrome extension. Well, that's not a big deal. I can hit the More button on her profile and simply save her profile as a PDF onto my computer and then drag that PDF into my database, and that will create a profile for her. So I click Save to PDF. It saves her profile here in LinkedIn onto my computer down here at the lower left. See you later, Kimberly. I go back to the People tab. I click on it and drag it. See how it prompts you here? Drop it, and it creates a profile in about 10 seconds. So that is the 6th and final technique I want to show you here, that you'll be able to sort of mix and match with your daily workflow so that you're continually pulling great people into your database of candidates and contacts, right? So maybe you just use the Chrome extension and the forwarding email address, or you just import lists of people all day long. Whatever's going to float your boat, just make sure that you're aware of all those techniques, you're comfortable with all those techniques, and you use at least one of those techniques so that you're constantly growing this database of excellent kick-butt candidates that you'll be able to tap into as you add jobs. All right, now let's talk about what happens when you click on someone's name and open up their profile page. And for that, I've got mine open, so let's use mine. So let's say that I'm searching and filtering my database and I'm looking for a webinar training specialist, and I see this guy Dan Hintz in New York, and I'm like, yeah, this guy is a webinar training specialist. He's perfect for this job. So I locate this guy. You click on the person's name, and it's going to open up the profile page. We call it the flyover page. It's really intuitive and it's jammed with features. Two big columns, left-hand column and the right-hand column. Left-hand column has three basic tabs here: profile, resume, and activity. Profile gives you all the basic info, like their work history, their academic highlights, their skill set, tags, and you can add tags, add skills, add academic highlights going forward. You can add additional work experience, etc. You can also, using the profile tab here, upload or change their picture by using the edit button here. If there's no picture, you can upload one. If you want to change one, you can. You can see edit buttons next to all the basic fields, like their name, their location. If you want to upload their resume here, you can upload information using the edit button here. To the right, you've got the basic communication tools. So you can fire off a quick email to the person using the arrow down next to email, point at the email address, and it will open up an email template. So just like an email that you're used to, you can CC people, you can BCC people, you can see who it's about to go to, you can add attachments onto this email. If you've created email templates over here on the right, you'll be able to drop in templated content for the content. At the from line, you'll be able to decide who this email is going to be from. Now, one key concept is if you're sending an email out to multiple people, you'll want to use the option at the from line via Loxo. Now, we'll talk about this at length in the 102 training. Basically, it means that this email will go out through our servers so that you don't get flagged as being a spammer. It's not such a big deal if you're just sending it to one person, whether or not you send it through Loxo or not. But when you're sending a bulk email or a campaign email, which we'll cover in the 102 training, that's when you always want to get in the habit of having that go out via Loxo. And we'll talk about that at length next time. Then as you build this email to the person, you'll put in the subject line and you'll build the body of the email. Notice how your email signature is going to auto-populate here. Now, we give you person merge tags here whenever you're making an email. So if you want to drop in like their first name, so it auto-populates their first name, you can easily do that. And again, this will really come into play when we talk about campaigns and bulk emailing next time. If you're just sending a one-off email like this, you can just type in Dan just as fast. But you want to get in the habit of using the person first name merge tag whenever you're putting together emails and you're sending it more than one person. Now, we also give you the ability, whenever you're putting an email together in Loxo, of inserting a link to a form. Remember how I briefly mentioned in passing on the settings page, you can create forms. Well, if you've created like an intake form, right, on your settings page, you can insert a link to that form into this email. So maybe it says, hey, Dan, per our phone conversation, if you don't mind, take a second to click on the link below and fill out our candidate information form. They click on this link, it's going to open up that form. They fill out that form and hit save. It's going to save that form onto their profile in Loxo. So the ability to drop in links to forms when you're creating emails, that's incredibly powerful. Now down here at the lower left, these boxes will probably be configured for your account to be checked already, so that we will track whether or not the person opened the email, whether they clicked on the link to open up the form, whether they downloaded your content. But if you see these boxes are not checked for whatever reason, take the 2 or 3 seconds it's going to take you to put those check marks there. So in the email log, you'll be able to see for this email, did he open it up? Did he click on the link like he said he would? Did he download my video like we talked about? If these are not checked, then we won't be able to see that, and we won't be able to report that to you in the email log. Hit the send button and this email goes out immediately from the profile page. The great thing is, next to the send button now, we just launched this thing where you can schedule this email to go out at a date and time of your choosing. Schedule send, that is incredibly powerful and popular now. So sending an email, very easy from the profile page, right? You can also make an outbound phone call from here. Use the arrow down, point at the phone number you want and click it, and that will dial that number through the Loxo user interface. So make sure you have a headset on so that they can hear you when they pick up the phone and you can hear them. You can also fire off a quick text message from here. Just use the arrow down next to SMS, point at the number, type your text message. You can drop in a person first name merge tag if you wish. You can also build text message templates on your settings page if you want to drop in content like an introduction text message kind of thing. And again, hit send and that text message will go out immediately to that person, or you can schedule it to go out at a later date and time. So easy to send an email, make a phone call, send a text message. Now, as we work our way down, use the add to button if you want to source this person for a job. that you're thinking that they would be good for. You can drop them into that job right here. You can also drop them into an outreach campaign and trigger that campaign to start communicating with this person using the Add to Campaigns button. You could also drop this person into a list in your People tab under the triple hamburger button. You can create folders or lists or talent pools, if you will. So if I have this person in mind for talent or training webinar specialists, I have a list of these kind of candidates, I could drop this person into that list. Or you could drop this person into your call queue or call list under the triple hamburger in the People tab. You can arrange your call queue for the next day if this is someone you want to remember to make a phone call to. Under the schedule button here, you can schedule a task from here. And if you want to schedule a meeting and you've got multiple emails, you can schedule a meeting very easily from here as well. The share button. This is where you can share this candidate and push this candidate to someone on your team, what we call a quick share, or you could formally submit this candidate for an interview at a client company. Either way, whether you use quick share or formal submission, you'll get this box that opens up where you decide how much information about this candidate do you want to share. Their name, their location, their job profiles, tags, their resumes, avatar, their education profiles, their skill set, their social media profiles, job information, any assessments that have been written about this candidate. You decide how much information is going to be shared when you submit or share this candidate. Now, you're going to want to select the job in question. Tell us what job you're thinking this candidate would be good for. So it ties this candidate to the job in question. Now, you can also insert a candidate highlight, which is essentially like what you see on a LinkedIn page on the About, where you can add candidate highlights, which will show up on top of the candidate's profile. So when you're submitting a candidate, let's say, to a hiring manager or maybe someone on your team, you can copy and paste in some text, like from their LinkedIn profile. We usually see that quite a bit. Very popular to insert a highlight. Then hit the next button, and that will basically then allow you to copy and paste this link into an email so that you can share this candidate, email this link to them, and when the hiring manager or someone on your team gets this, they can click on that to open up and view their resume and also write an assessment about this candidate at that point. So basically, you can also email this candidate to a hiring manager using this field here. If you click on that button, it opens up an email allowing you to introduce the person that you're going to be sharing it to and the recipient, who the hiring manager is over at the hiring company. And whenever you create a link like this, when you're sharing, you decide when this link expires, in a week, over the next month, or over the next 3 months. Hit done to share that candidate right from here. You also have the ability to slot them into the appropriate category in your database. You can set this on your settings page. So the example here is contacted, in progress, applied, nurture, bad data, do not contact, shortlisted, hired, or hiring managers. So the idea here is that you can immediately, for every person you're adding into your database, slot them into the appropriate category here. Now below that, you have this track record feature where you can immediately see at a glance how many times has this person been sourced for jobs in your account, how many times were they rejected, how many times were they hired, and how many times did hiring managers or people on your team write assessments about this candidate. Now the resume tab on the left-hand column is where you can immediately view the resume for this person, and you can upload multiple resumes using the add button here. You'll be able to download resumes from here using the download button, or delete resumes. And again, you can store as many resumes, as many versions of the resume on their profile page here as you want. The activity stream is the place where you can add notes onto this profile anytime you want going forward. Click on activity, start typing the note exactly like I showed you on the extension, document the activity, like maybe the fact I just sent an email to this person, and tie it to the job in question, like we talked about, so it creates that nice, neat little information package, and hit save, and that will add that note into the activity stream. Keep in mind that Loxo will automatically document in this activity stream anytime that you email someone, call them, text them, submit them for a job, anytime that they go to an interview, they get hired, they get rejected, anything like that, that's going to automatically update this activity stream for you, which is an invaluable tool for you. And going forward, you're going to be able to search and filter this activity stream. So even if you have like 10,000 notes in here and you want to be able to find a note from 18 months ago, you'll be able to filter this activity stream by owner, by type of activity or by job to locate that note in question. All right, now up here at the upper right of the left-hand column here is where you can use Loxo Connect, that little magnifying glass button. So when you pull someone in, if you don't see contact info over here on the right, you can use that magnifying glass button, again, like I showed you on the extension, to find email addresses or cell phone numbers if needed. You also have a delete button, so you can delete this person from your database if you pulled them in by mistake, for example. And you also have a button where you can block them from receiving outreach campaigns or other kinds of communications from your account if needed. So if this person's going out of town for or going to a different country for several months and you want to block them from receiving outreach campaigns until they return, you can flip the switch, so to speak, there to block them or unblock them when they return. All right, quickly, the right-hand column. Details, assessments, and an intake note form. The details column is where you'll have all the basic info, phone numbers and email addresses. You can add as many as you want. Their basic location, and you have unlimited number of fields that you can document on every profile page. In the customizations webinar, I teach you how to add fields, how to hide fields, and how to edit the names, the terminology for these fields, and notice the edit buttons that float next to each of these fields. So you can always document whatever it is that you want to be able to document about every single person that's in your database of people. Also notice the add tasks button here. So just like under schedule, you can create a task like a follow-up phone call, that kind of thing, right from here. You can also drop them into a job just like you can under the add to button. You can do it over here on the right and you'll be able to see the jobs that this person has been sourced for previously. You can drop them into an outreach campaign here. You can drop them into a list, into a deal. You can upload files or attachments and attach them to the profile page here. You can adjust the visibility for this candidate in your database. Does everyone see this person? Is it only someone that you see? Do only the admins see this person? And finally, down at the bottom, you can see their current GDPR status if they are over in the EU. That's details. If when you have submitted or shared a candidate with a hiring manager or someone on your team, they have chosen at that point to write an assessment about this candidate, you will see those assessments here under the assessments tab. So in this example here, there are 3 assessments. And when a hiring manager is writing the assessment, they can give a 5-star rating, write a complete assessment. They can also accept or reject the candidate as they're adding that assessment. And if you have a bunch of assessments added onto someone's profile page like this, you can sort these assessments by job, by who wrote the assessment, or by date. So as these build up over time, you'll be able to sort of, filter these appropriately. And when someone on your team is looking at this profile page, this flyover page, they can add an assessment using the add button here and write an assessment, give a 5-star rating to this person, select the job in question, and submit that assessment. They can also choose, if they want, to simply leave a comment without writing an assessment per se. So the ability to use that add button under assessments here for folks that are checking out this candidate who you work with, that's also fabulous. Now finally, we're almost up here, the intake button. This is a fabulous tool we literally just rolled out on Friday. It basically allows you to have one location to keep all of your master notes on this candidate or this contact. Intake notes are searchable and shareable and easy to find and update. So basically, when you click on intake here, you just start typing on this notepad, whatever the note is that you want, and it automatically saves. You don't have to save or anything. It's like a free form note pad, and you can keep typing as much as you want. There's no upper limit on how many notes you keep adding here. Now down here at the bottom, if you've got a form on your settings page that you want to be able to access when you are doing intake with a candidate, maybe you're chatting with this person over the phone, you can access that form, like the candidate information form. So it opens up the form. Now if I'm chatting with this person, I can write in their name. Hey, okay, Dan, how'd you hear about the job? What's your current work status? What skills do you have? What company do you work at? Where are you located? I can basically add all that information onto the form and print it out or save that form onto this profile page. Similarly, on the settings page, I mentioned you can create note templates, like maybe a series of questions like I have here, screening questions, and then access those templates, right? So master interview questions maybe. So on your settings page, you can create forms, you can create note templates, and then when you're doing intake with a brand new candidate, you can access those forms or those templates or just free form start typing in this notepad. That is incredible. And that is the brand new UI for the person flyover page or profile page that we literally just rolled out here. And we're very proud of because of the increased enhanced functionality that you'll find there. That is our presentation. Now 59 past the hour, I'm gonna turn off the recording and then I'll come back, I'll take a big gulp of my iced tea and then we'll take some questions to wrap things up. So sit tight.